All right, welcome back to Launch Your Light. This is the podcast that covers the soul and strategy of running a business and everything in between, sharing your heart's work with the world. I am so excited to have on another amazing guest. Today, we're going to hear from Jayme DeCarlo. She is a travel advisor, and we're going to hear all about her story, how she went from bartender to bucket list designer. She is a destination magic maker, helping you create experiences with your friends and your family and getting that group chat off the text message chain and into the destination. Who needs that? We all need that. Oh my God. She is a senior travel advisor with Byrds. I can't wait to hear all about this. You are also now shifting into coaching and mentoring for other female travelers. Oh my God, Jayme, as someone who has traveled the world, and this just travel means so much to me, I am so honored to have you on the show. So welcome.
Thank you, Jayme. Thanks for having me.
Oh my God. Okay, let's just dive right in. I can't even beat around the bush. I want to hear how you went from bartender to like going into travel during one of the craziest years on the planet. So, how did you get here? How did this start for you?
Yeah, 2020 was a crazy year for everyone. For me, being a bartender and a full-time employee in a restaurant, it was a scary time, right? The world shut down, and I kind of sat there and had that aha moment of, okay, if my livelihood's pulled away right now, then it was just uncertain, and I had to pivot. I had to figure something out. However, it's silly to say because you couldn't travel in 2020. So why did I get into becoming a travel advisor? It was shortly into 2021. I, got back in when the restaurants opened and, things were shut down. I didn't have my bar for a year and everything was partitioned and it was every other table. And I was just wearing a mask and running around like a mad lady. And I just knew it's not what I wanted. Right. So I decided from there to just start looking and kind of, what opportunities do I have? I knew being an entrepreneur was always something that I wanted. Just, how can I utilize my business degree and roll it into something that I really enjoy to do? And I was on vacation with my family, and my husband was driving. We went from Maine to Cape Cod, and I was just scrolling on Indeed naturally, and there was just an ad there for being a travel advisor. And I picked up the phone and gave my gave the woman who runs the Travel Birds the call. She picked up, and it just kind of, the rest is history, right? We just connected right away. And, I realized from that point, being a bartender and working in the restaurant industry for 20 years
Hmm.
shaped me to who I am, right? It just helped me grow in all the goods with travel advising, right? Just curating those relationships with my clients, and just being who I am.
Oh my God. I love that we're talking about this because you're in it, right? With the bartending world. It's almost one of those professions that it's like really hard to get out of. Do you agree with that? It's tantalizing. It's like it's easy, it's fun, you make good money. If you're in a great position, right? You make some good money. You go home with that money, you can leave that work behind. So what has it been like? Because I know you're celebrating a big move this week. So what has it been like to like step away from that? How long did it take you to kind of balance the two out?
Well, going into any business, as you know, right, you're kind of in this period of time where you don't know what's certain. You have to build your clientele, you have to build your business, and you have to strategize with your money to get to a point where you can let go of what doesn't make you happy anymore. It took me 3 years, for now at this point, almost 4 years. And this week is actually me saying goodbye to my bartending job after 20 years, right? So it's huge. But it finally got to the point where it's what fills my cup. The late nights anymore, I'm going to be 40 this year. So I think it's a pivotal year for me of kind of just restarting and rebranding Jayme and getting to who Jayme really is and loving life again, if that makes sense.
It makes total sense. And you're in the right place. You are my people. Okay, wait, first of all, side vent. I'm an 85 baby too. Are you an 85er?
85, baby, 40th this year. Yep.
Me too. When's your birthday?
November.
November what? You're a Sagittarius or Scorpio?
I'm a Scorpio, November
Of
9th.
of course you are bartender Scorpio. Of course you're a fucking Scorpio. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
exactly.
I'm a
What's
Capricorn. I'm a
yours?
Christmas Eve
Okay.
baby. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. I just want to like ask you about a million things, but I kind of want to go into this like the bucket list thing. Like, how many people have bucket lists? Like, I want you to tell that story that you were sharing with me with that woman. And then the whole like kind of giggling about the whole get everyone off the group chat and at the destination. Like, that's a vibe. So who are the people you find yourself really wanting to work with right now?
Yeah, I mean, there's such a every person, every client is different, and they come to me because they need help. They need to figure things out. Right now I'm working with a family who their daughter's getting married in South France. The rest of the family has no idea how to get there, how to work things logistically. And hey, if we're going to France for a wedding, why are we not enjoying our lives and spending an extra week or two there and bringing our family and just living life? So things from there to going into group travel where, I had the pleasure of planning this huge Rhine River cruise trip for a family that the grandmother just wanted to give back to her kids and grandchildren while she had the money, knowing that memories mean everything, right? It's not about the material things in life. It's about the memories we make and what we're going to bring with us in the end. And today I just had an amazing conversation with one of my friends, reconnecting. It's kind of the world going around again. She actually used to work with me in the restaurant industry, and she's been focusing on, spiritualism and, yoga and in being a chef. And, she wants to get into hosting some retreats where I can kind of help her and guide her to the right people and how we can set this up with her network of people so she can just bring back more to the world, right? Travel is something that I encourage everybody to do. You need to get out there, you need to see this world, you need to dive into another culture and don't wait, right? It's nothing's promised tomorrow. So just get out there, do it. The money, you can always make money again. You can always get it back. So my job is just to help people get to experience these amazing things in life.
I want to highlight what you just said about that woman too. I don't know if you said on this episode, but she's like a spiritual teacher and she hosts retreats, right?
Yes. Well, she's
And
getting into it, so it's something brand new for her. Yeah.
I'm making you repeat that or like just say it because there are so many of those people listening to this call. And I will say I was one of those people who I take people on retreats, but I was doing it hokey pokey, hunky dory. I was putting it together myself on Airbnb. I took like 13 women to Iceland. Oh my God,
Oh,
champagne,
that's amazing. Yeah.
like oh my God, champagne under aurora borealis, skinny dipping in our private thermal pool, driving around the country having a fucking blast. That was all great. And then COVID hit. And I
Like
had a
canceled it.
22 woman retreat to Sedona
Okay.
that got pushed back from we were supposed to leave in April and then it
Yeah.
got pushed back to the fall and then we canceled by the winter and I had to refund half the people that were like yeah no like I'm just freaked out and I'm not going anywhere and I'm not right to the rest of the people who were like hell fucking yeah let's go somewhere so we went to New Orleans in September of 2021 because I was like we're going somewhere we've like I had to pull the trigger on so I just in that moment was like I will never do this myself again from
Yeah.
henceforward, I'm going to work with a travel advisor.
Right. And that's where I step in. And not only that, I mean, I work with a team of 30 plus amazing women who we all strive to be better every day. And our end goal mission is to help people, just create these experiences they never thought were possible. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's where I come into play.
This brings me to another point that I think is so important for us to talk about. I was talking to my sister about this. She's a corporate traveler. She works for like designing corporate travel, but we were talking about the whole everyone saying AI is taking over travel. And I don't think that this is one of those professions people are gonna want to give over to the robot. When we were just talking, you said like you love working with you're connecting with people and helping them make memories. I think travel will be one of those things where people are like, no, 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 put the human on, please.
Yeah.
So,
It's,
go ahead. Yeah,
can you always trust it, right? I mean,
right.
to a degree, but at the end of the day, are you going to know how to go book X, Y, and Z, right? Basically my job is to step in and give you that time back, right? Time back to spend with your family, like busy moms who just don't want to go down the Google dark hole and try to figure it out on their own. I just come back and say, nope, this is what we're doing. Trust me, we're good.
Yep. Also, when you look nowadays, I feel like it used to be easier. Now it's like you go to this website, but then it feeds you to this website, but then you go to that website and you're like, what is this? Am I being scammed? Like, I think that people are actually scared to like give their information over or book something. They have no clue. So, like, is that a conversation you have with your people? Is it more trusted to work with you guys through these
Yeah,
companies?
yeah. The way we do it is there are people who get it. I'm even like that sometimes, right? You have to be careful nowadays. But we have a very good reputation. We keep things very safe for our clients. And like I said, it's you look at working with somebody the first time, then the second, third, fourth time, everything becomes that much easier. So yeah, I obtain, all the information that I need for bookings and keep everything very safe for my clients. But when you get to that hurdle, that person decides in that moment if it works for them, right? If not, ultimately, I always want my clients to trust me. That's number one foremost is the trust.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. Also, I just have this written down that I wanted to reach out to you and talk to you about this whole like coaching and mentor for other female travel experts or someone getting into this. So let's shift towards that. How did you become a mentor for this, a senior travel advisor? Like, how'd you climb those ranks?
So, I just met the right person at the right time and what it really comes down to. And fortunately, my mentor through all of this, she just kind of always recognized what's going to fill Haley's cup. And she always pushed towards getting me to succeed, right? So after several conversations, it comes down to, what at the end of the day is going to make you happy. Being a bartender for all the years that I've done, I've always held kind of a leadership position. I've always trained people. I've enjoyed it. I've always wanted people to be successful and learn how to make money and be happy doing it. Right. So, with newer advisors that come onto our team, or even some that are senior advisors as well, it's just really coaching them through what they need, goal setting, and everybody's very different and unique in what their business looks like. So my job is to help them hold accountability and get to their goals and reach the stars.
Can we go deeper into this? Because I think women hearing this are actually going to be very interested in this. So you're saying through travel birds, they can become their own travel advisors,
Yep.
get trained and start helping, right? As you're building up your own clientele, I'm sure you're adding on your people and building up your own roster while Travel Birds maybe also sends you leads or something. You know what I mean? Is it
Yeah,
like,
it's a big company, so we all kind of work together, right? If I get a lead that is not in my bandwidth or it's not in my wheelhouse, then I have a whole team that I can go to and be like, "Hey, I have one of my experts that is loves Jackson Hole in booking national parks. So let me send you to her." So we kind
love
of
it.
lean on each other for that, right? So I could guarantee you, no matter what your wish is. If I don't know it, I know somebody who does, right?
Oh my God, this is brilliant. Because I think there's so many, like, not everyone's here to be an entrepreneur, right? But there are with companies like this and so many companies around the world, like you get to work through these big companies and have your like own schedule and how many hours you want to put in and what you're available for. So it's like running your own business, but being under this other business is brilliant. How has that been for you?
It's been great, right? It's just, when you're an independent contractor and you're essentially running your own business under another business, I have no boss, right? At the end of the day, Haley decides what her schedule is going to be, which the flexibility with my kids and my family and my husband, his schedule, it's there. I can change it week to week, what works for me. It's good. At the same time, you have to have, you really have to know what you're doing to still continue to be successful. The one thing working from home and working for yourself, you may find yourself on your computer at 10 o'clock at night when you should probably be in bed.
Yeah.
But that kind of goes with the territory, right? So yeah, I wouldn't change it. I think after these 4 years of having the independence and working for myself and the freedom, it's a lot to leaving bartending. Now it's Haley wants to work for herself, right?
Woo. Girl, the fact that we're recording this now as you're heading into like your last two shifts, like this is perfect for you. Oh my God. Okay. So with that, like you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what has been what you are considering, like what have been the roadblocks? What fears were you up against doing this? Like, doing half bartending, half this. Like, what were some of the walls you hit? Because I like to be real with my audience. Like, this isn't just some fucking dream, you know?
No, you dream to dream, but the reality is you have to be willing to put in the hard work. When I decided to start learning the travel industry, I worked 80 hours after I just had my son on maternity leave. So
Wow.
it was a very deep conversation with my husband, who was extremely supportive. And I sat there and said to him, "Hey, we're doing this with Jasper. I need you to pivot now. I need you to stay with him while mom works and figures this business out and gets to where she wants to be." And fortunately, he did that for me, right? So at that point, I worked 3 jobs when I started this.
Right.
Then I gave up I had a full-time job that I took coming out of COVID in accounting and finance because I thought, oh, my dream was to use my bachelor's degree and just work for a corporation. And I realized after a year and a half, I hated it. It was not me at all. So I had to let go of that. Then I came into just the 2 nights of bartending, now went down to 60, 65 hours. A lot of sacrifices, between my family and my kids to get to where I need to be. But for me, it was it's always the financial aspect, because when you're building a business, you have to give yourself the time to get paid appropriately to what, your prior income may have been. So for me, it's this year, it's like, okay, last year I proved to myself I can do this.
Yeah.
Bartending, like you mentioned, it's always quick cash. It's easy, but I'm to a pivotal point in my life where I want my nights back with my 4-year-old and get to enjoy that time back for me.
Oh my God, I love this. This is the reality of
Yeah.
doing that. Also, I know you've listened to some of the other episodes. I literally every single guest I've had on that talks about business, it's that like I'm not like a jump ship, quit right now. It's like if you aren't disciplined enough to actually do the damn work you need to do for this business, it's going to flounder. You're going to flounder trying to like, if you're used to having a job and given the duty and doing the thing, it's going to be very hard for you to just slip over. So you're another woman we're hearing from that had a foot in both of those doors, and that was a challenge. And then now you're saying 3 years later, has it been 3.5 years?
4. So I've been full-time travel now for 2 years. So this month actually hits 2 years full-time. Prior to that, I was working part-time and learning really. So yeah, 2 years full-time in, and I was able to walk away from, I'm all in, baby. I'm all in on travel now, right?
My next question is always like, okay, if we heard some of the blocks, then what are some of the gifts? And now what I'm hearing from you, I want to hear what gifts you feel like you've gotten out of this, but you're like going into your 40s, like a
Mhm.
whole new, I mean, it's like at the end of the year, but both of you and I, like we're heading into our 40s and you're a whole different person.
Yeah, I mean, even with the age, it's, my 2 older kids are 20 and 18. They're in college. So my youngest son, Jasper, who was our COVID baby blessing, right?
Yep.
There's a 15 age year gap, right? So in that time, in the past 2.5 years, my son went off to college. He moved out. My daughter went off to college this year. Both
Wow.
of our dogs are 2 German Shepherds we had for 14 years. They're both gone. So
Oh,
it was like a big shift in life. So
yeah.
on top of closing that chapter, you sit here and now you open a new chapter. And by doing that, it's kind of perfect opportunity to kind of rebirth, right? And just start kind of fresh after 20 years of, being a mom to my other kids. It's now Jasper focused, of course, my older kids, but they're capable of everything now, right? We're very lucky.
Oh my God, I love hearing these stories. My mom had kids 21 years apart.
That's
She
amazing.
had my
Yeah.
sister when she was like literally I was like a high school pregnancy, like at Catholic high school in Boston. LOL. I was like, she was pregnant with me and then found my stepdad and they had they had 2 sons. So
Yeah.
she had 4, but it was like a 20-year, 21-year difference. And she passed a few years ago. So it's sad,
Oh,
but I love to
I
bring her
hear
onto
that.
the podcast when I can. So okay, wait. The traveler in me wants to know. and anyone traveling on this podcast listening, what is your favorite city or country that you've been to?
I had an excellent opportunity to go to Italy in November. It was kind of, again, part of this life shift change where me and my husband looked at each other and we said, hey, we're doing it. It was our 10-year anniversary rolled in, a little after 11, and Italy's a complete dream. If you have not been, I encourage you to go. It's everything that you could imagine. When we went, we started in Florence, so we spent some time in Florence, and my dream has always been Tuscany. Here I am booking these amazing trips, and I'm like, I have to go experience this. And we stayed
Yes.
in this beautiful castle in Siena, and we spent some time there. And I think in the trip, a couple times before we headed back to Rome, I probably cried 2 or 3 times because it was just this overwhelm of, here I am. I did it, right? This is
Yeah.
exactly what I've dreamt. I feel amazing, and now I know this is what I want to give every person who wants it.
Yes. You were talking earlier about like it's this multi-dimensional. It's like it's a deeper dimension to work with someone like you who really cares about people making an experience about this, not just like needing to book travel, right? So
Right, right.
what are your thoughts on that? Because I feel like there's a lot of people who are still new to travel, who have never left the town they live in America, who have never
And
left the state, you know?
I just spoke with a woman the other day. She's a widow. She just lost her husband. So these are always the calls that pull on your heartstrings.
Yeah.
And she thinks she wants to travel, and she hasn't really left the US. And I've done a couple of trips like this, especially with solo women. And what I say is I encourage you to get a passport. The US is beautiful, right? And I look at it from this, what I've been told. I've been to half of the US. I still have a lot of states I haven't visited, but I'm going to save that for when I'm older. Right now, when I'm younger and I have the energy and I have you know, all of the strength to go travel, I'm going to do that internationally and do the trips where I'm walking around a city for
Right.
25,000 steps a day.
Right.
So I kind of tell people, if you haven't done it, we can start easy, right? We see where you want to go. Our my consultation is, are we a beach people? Do we love mountains? What type of food do you drink? What dietary restrictions do you have? What I try to get to know the client so I can help them pinpoint a destination that I think would be perfect for them. And some of my favorite clients are ones that come to me that have no idea where they want to go. And I send them off on an amazing trip, and then they come back and, oh, Haley she recommended Portugal. I had no idea it could be so incredible, but it fit with our investment that we wanted to spend. It fit all the boxes, and we trusted her, and it was incredible, right?
Yeah. Do you work with people in different age, I'm sorry, not age ranges, of course, but price ranges too, like different budgets?
Oh yeah, we're really
Yeah.
good at that. Like travel, it's expensive. You look at every aspect of it, and the bigger trips that you're going internationally, depending on the time of year that you go, it's something that, as an advisor, this is the information we give back to our clients of, hey, listen, if we can wait until October, November, and we're going to go do Europe, we're off season. So, let's not go in June when flights are going to be $1,000 more than you have to pay, right? So these are conversations that we have to kind of sit there and go off of what works for the client and what makes sense, to ultimately fit their budget and what they want to spend.
I think travel is still going to be so important as we head into the future because I think humanity is shifting from like a material based, not everyone, but we've got a lot of people buying stuff. And I think it is going to shift towards experience, like putting how much money Americans are just spending and wasting on stuff,
Yeah,
right? To fill
yeah.
up these needs. And it's like, really, there are these experiences out in the world in these places and spaces. You get out of your habit, like your drive to work and your this and that, and you
Mhm.
go walk around like a European city or a South American city or whatever nature. Oh my God. It blows your socks off.
Yeah, it does. And that's one of the things, like, between my husband and I, we decided a couple of years ago, at least, like, the presents under the Christmas tree, we don't need them, right? We're at a point in life where if we need something, we're going to go buy it, right? And let's take all of that money that we are finding ourselves spending on this that we don't need and put it towards the experiences, put it towards the memories. Because you look back and, I think about last year and the best experience I had was being in Italy for a
Right.
week, right? And
Right.
those are what I want.
A lot of people are shifting towards this. Like my teacher gives her kids the option to have for their birthdays. Do you want a trip or do you want a gift? Like, do you want toys or do you want this? They're still 4 and 6, but as they get older, they're starting to lean towards trips more,
Yeah.
understanding it already at that young age that they want the experience. I have another friend who has 4 kids and they get gifts from everyone else. They get gifts from everyone else, but in their family, because like everyone wants to buy them gifts and the grandmas and the this and that. But in their family, they only do handmade gifts per person and they pool all their money and do a big, big trip every 2 years. So like they did rented a van, like a van for the whole family, a camper, and did all around Route 1, California, the desert, all around that Utah, like that whole loop. And now they're putting all their money towards Hawaii for the family of freaking 5, right? No, I'm sorry, 6.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like that exact same amount of money that you'd spend all year on all this stuff can go to 2 weeks in Hawaii with your family if you want it to.
Yeah, exactly. And again, a lot of clients, that's what they are looking for. It's the milestone trips, the birthdays, the anniversaries, it's Christmas. We don't want to be here. We don't want to put thousands of dollars worth of gifts under the tree. What can we do instead?
Yeah.
Um, so it's kind of just it's a mindset shift, right? And just if that's what you want, there's ways to make it happen. You just have to be willing to put in the work to get there.
I also think kids and youth really need to get out of the state and out of the country and go see, and
Yeah.
specifically teens. And I love hearing about the initiatives there are. Because like, you think you're a hot shit and then you go to Europe. Like I went to Europe at like 17
Yeah.
and I
Well,
was like,
culture shock, right?
oh my God, like you think you're so cool, right?
Yeah.
And then you go see there's a whole other world out there. And I was like, I remember just praying, I'm like, oh, I will be a good girl. And I was not. I was a troublemaker. But I was like, oh, I'll go to college. Oh, I'll be a good girl if I could just come back here. And I ended up going to school for international business and travel and tourism.
Nice. I love it.
And it was like I look back on some of my best memories are me getting on a plane and going exploring the world, and I'm like, want to make sure my kids are seeing this world
Yeah.
and that there are so many different ways to eat and to live
And it's
around.
different. You go eat the food. Like I was in Costa Rica in October, and you go and you live that lifestyle 5, 6 days. You come back, and it's completely different than the U.S. and the food that we eat here. It's kind of like an eye opener, right?
Yeah.
I have a lot of people ask me like, "Oh, this is our spring break. This is when our kids can travel." I say, "Listen, don't be afraid to pull your kids out of school for a week.
Right.
Save a little money doing it that way, and your kids are going to learn more being on a trip with you in another country than they are sitting behind a desk in a school."
Amen.
And that's kind of my firm belief. I get everybody's different, and I respect that. But I think at the end of the day, there's a lot of education in travel, and a lot of people benefit it all ages.
Oh, amen to that. Yo, that don't even get me going on that whole thing. Yep, I agree. Okay, I could just talk to you for all day long, apparently. But I want to hear, okay, so we've got this new Haley, new chapter. You get to fully focus on you. What are some of your visions or ideas or goals that you want to accomplish maybe this year or in the next 5 or like more of this mentorship and helping other women? Like, what do you have your eye on? What do you set on here?
Yeah, I think, at the end of the day, it's just creating kind of a lifestyle for myself that, I wake up every day and I'm happy and I can sit back and just be proud of myself. Having the time to put into my family, I think that's number one. I am kind of looking at this year like, okay, can I be to a point where in the summer I can take 3 to 4 day weekends and how can I structure this? So I think my mission is really just to move forward and be happy, right? Live my life, travel when I can, but just help people and realize that, in this world, we're all our own person. We all have our own story. And the older you get, you kind of learn that, right? So I think just creating these personal connections with people and I just learned with networking, it's, you come across people like you, Jayme, for instance, and just like that, it makes sense, right? So it's just more of that, more of getting into the world and figuring out a way to help it in a sense, if that makes sense, right?
That's my whole life goal. Yes. But that's my purpose is purpose. Like we have so many amazing things to do, and there are so many great people doing dope stuff. If only we could give these people a little bit more attention, like you. That's why I'm doing this podcast, right? It's like at people in their little corners of their world are making a difference, right? And changing and shift. And I think that on a global level are the shifts we're really craving on the planet.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Well, listen, this has been so much fun talking to you. I'm going to make sure at the bottom of these notes they have the best website and link to follow for yours. But do you want to tell them your handles for social media so they can follow you, like on Instagram? Do you have any of those? Do you?
I do. I will get them to you. We can put them down in the link
Perfect.
below. And
Perfect.
yeah, I love that for
That's
sure.
perfect. Okay. This has been so amazing talking to you. Thank you for being on here today. And we will definitely have to have you back on the show, maybe next year, and do a little check-in and see where you're at and what you've done, where you've been, and
I
where
love
you
it.
sent people to. So thank you for being here with us today, Haley.
Thanks, Jayme.